The kit comes with two of these modules, one for electric power and one for nitro, which is what I've elected to go with, the 52 Magnum 4-stroke. And I set it up going out to the right side. I could have put it inverted and probably got most of it to fit inside the cowling, but I've found if you can't get to the motor sometimes it's a pain in the neck, so I decided to make it a little bit easier and put it out the right side of the cowling. So I guess if you want to call this like a power module, I've got the motor on the front. I've enclosed the bottom and top because this, after you stick it in the airplane, is in front of the firewall. So in order to protect the throttle servo, which I put inside there, I enclosed all four sides. And of course it's light ply, very thin ply, and everything is coated in epoxy to help protect it from the fuel. So I ended up putting the throttle servo down inside here in the front of my fuel tank, and inside this little power pod, and then I ran the servo wire out the back here. So that gives me a really short wire for the throttle control. And then the fuel line and vent line run out to the tank, and just make sure when I put these screws in, I made sure nothing was going to jape or screw through a fuel line. And I did have to do some modifications, basically, so that the fuel tank sat where I wanted it. It's a nice tight fit, but fits in there pretty well. And that's the power module. So when you make modifications, obviously every once in a while something unexpected comes up. Because I raised the fuel tank a little bit, I had to make a cutout in the hatch so that it would clear the fuel tank. Alright, just a quick overview of the finished product. I just had the Maiden this morning, and as you can see the plane's still in one piece, so I made it through okay. I'll show you that in a second. So the solo pilot sits in the front seat. Now this hatch here, this whole removable hatch, which I'll show you in a second, originally was held on by one screw there in the rear cockpit, and that was it. So I don't know, there was nothing else in the instructions I saw that showed you how to do it, so when I take it off, I'll show you. I put another screw there. So there's two screws holding this whole black piece on here, and I'll show you in a second where I mounted the battery. So inside, I can show you underneath here. Got our elevator and rudder servos. Receiver mounted on the side. Fuel tank. And the battery, I have a 1500 milliamp hour 3-cell LiPo through a voltage regulator over to the receiver for power. The on-off switch is mounted right there in the aft cockpit. So currently I'm holding the wing on, it's notched in the front to accept these little metal tabs. And then in the back I'm using the Allen screws that came with it, but eventually I'm going to go to some nylon wing bolts and put some bigger nuts in there. That'll probably be my next project on it. I went with the single aileron servo. I guess you could technically go with two if you wanted, one for the left, one for the right, but one works fine. These fairings that go on the landing gear, of course the directions show you just attach them with double-sided tape. Well, that's not going to hold, so what I did is I put 4 screws on the base of each one. The front 2 go into balsa. The rear 2 actually went into some hardwood. So the 2 that went in the balsa, you put a drop of CA in all the holes before I put the screw in, just to give the wood a little reinforcement. Pre-drill the holes and put some small screws in. So I've taken out the 2 screws that hold this top hatch on. You can see this stuff's a pain in the ass. I gotta put some more glue on that. Anyway, this lifts up like this. So what I have is my LiPo mounted on some hardwood up under there with rubber bands, and then the wires to the power switch. And then it came with the blind nut there, and I added another one up front here. Now I guess if you were doing an electric setup, I'm going to put, this would be the battery hatch, so you could probably figure out a way to mount it with magnets. Oh, also on the rear here is the added ballast to get the CG in the right place. Worked out pretty good. Okay, so we're going to have the Maiden with the PT-19. It's a little breezy, but it's coming right down the runway, so PT-19. Something either was glitching or the wind is so bad it was tossing me all over the place. You know what? Let's go. Try a high-speed pass. Goddamn son. It's 10 minutes right, I need to land.
Ah, come on.